In my childhood, my father and grandfathers were very strict, even for minor mistakes, such as accidentally dropping a glass of water at the tender age of 4 or 5. They would scold me harshly. My brother and I began working in the fields, assisting with farming, despite our lack of interest. The fear of reprimand for even the simplest errors loomed over us, especially when it occurred in public. This scrutiny led us to develop a mindset of avoidance, steering clear of social interactions out of fear of judgment for our actions or words. We lived our lives in a state of fear and trepidation, choosing isolation over the risk of making a mistake. Whenever we did speak, it was only in response to direct questions, and even then, thoughts like, "Am I speaking correctly? Did I say something wrong?" plagued our minds. This constant self-doubt conditioned us to remain silent. As I grew older, the restrictions of my childhood persisted. My family didn't allow me to go anywhere freely, whether it was playing with friends or enjoying simple pleasures. Even as an adult, I had to seek permission for everything, including going out. Consequently, I didn't have friends in my adulthood, nor did I participate in social activities like parties or gatherings. I've never attended a single party with friends. The thought of seeking numerous permissions from my parents was so daunting that I never tried. This upbringing shaped me into an introvert. It's not that I am sad or depressed about being this way, but it has led to many challenges, such as difficulties in relationships, decision-making, and a tendency towards isolation and quietness. Now, in my 20s, I face significant struggles. I will share the challenges I've encountered in this phase of my life later in the video. What I'm expressing here is my genuine experience. If this video reaches a parent, please do not emulate toxic parenting behaviors. I understand that few adults openly share their feelings, opting instead to remain silent to avoid causing hurt, even when they are justified. So, parents, I implore you to understand, this is my heartfelt request. I've lived through these experiences, and I am finally ready to voice what I am enduring now in this video. Let's begin. Part 2. The impact of toxic parenting. As children under toxic parenting grow, they carry with them the weight of their childhood experiences. The constant criticism and lack of emotional support can lead to deep-seated issues with self-esteem and self-worth. These individuals might struggle with trusting others, often feeling anxious or uncertain in social situations. The fear of making mistakes instilled from a young age can result in a paralyzing fear of failure that hampers decision-making and personal growth. Relationships, too, can be a battlefield. The lack of a positive role model in how to communicate and show affection can make it challenging to form and maintain healthy connections. Many find themselves either too clingy out of a fear of abandonment or too distant as a way to protect themselves from potential hurt. But there is hope. Recognizing these patterns is the first step towards healing. Therapy, self-reflection, and building a support system of understanding friends and partners can pave the way for breaking the cycle. It's about learning that you are worthy of love and respect, just as you are, and that it's okay to set boundaries and demand better for yourself. Understanding toxic parenting. Toxic parents often prioritize their own needs over their children's, leading to a lack of empathy and support. Physical abuse. Beyond discipline, this includes any form of physical harm that is disproportionate to the child's actions. Verbal abuse. Regular yelling, screaming, name-calling, and blaming that can damage a child's self-esteem. Emotional abuse. This can range from manipulative tactics like guilt-tripping to stonewalling or giving the silent treatment. Blaming the child. Holding the child responsible for things beyond their control, such as marital problems or other adult issues. Manipulation. Using extreme emotional manipulation to ensure the parent always gets their way. Inability to respect boundaries. A toxic parent may not recognize or respect their child's personal boundaries. Overreacting. Toxic parents may react excessively to minor issues, creating drama and instilling fear. A self-assessment of childhood experiences. By asking yourself the following questions, you can begin to understand whether you may have been subjected to toxic parenting. Emotional abuse. Did my parents ever tell me I was worthless or just plain bad? Did they frequently criticize me or belittle my achievements? Physical abuse. Was physical punishment a common response to my mistakes, no matter how small? Did they justify it as discipline? Role reversal. Was I expected to take care of my parents' emotional or physical needs at a young age, reversing the typical parent-child roles? Fear and intimidation. Was I often scared of my parents or their reactions? Did I feel unable to express my anger or frustration towards them? Forced secrecy. Did my parents make me keep secrets from family or friends, especially regarding things they did to me, such as physical or sexual abuse? 10 challenges faced by adults grown from toxic parenting. Low self-esteem. Low self-esteem often stems from consistent criticism, neglect, or emotional abuse during childhood. When parents fail to provide love, support, and positive reinforcement, children may internalize negative beliefs about themselves. They may feel unworthy, unlovable, or inadequate, regardless of their actual accomplishments or abilities. This pervasive sense of inadequacy can profoundly impact various aspects of their lives, including relationships, career aspirations, and overall well-being. Fear of failure. Toxic parents may set impossibly high standards for their children, expecting flawless performance in academics, extracurricular activities. Children learn to associate failure with punishment, rejection, or withdrawal of love, creating a deep-seated fear of disappointing their parents or falling short of expectations. This fear of failure can lead to perfectionism, anxiety, and a reluctance to take risks or pursue goals that may not guarantee success. Difficulty setting boundaries. In households characterized by toxic dynamics, boundaries are often disregarded, invalidated, or outright violated. Children may not learn to assert their own needs, preferences, or limitations, as their boundaries are routinely crossed or dismissed by their parents. Consequently, they may struggle to recognize and enforce healthy boundaries in their adult relationships, leading to issues such as codependency, resentment, or a pattern of being taken advantage of by others. People-pleasing behavior. To maintain a semblance of harmony or avoid conflict in a tumultuous home environment, children may adopt a people-pleasing mentality. They learn to prioritize others' needs, desires, or expectations over their own, suppressing their own feelings or desires in the process. This ingrained pattern of behavior can persist into adulthood, making it difficult for individuals to assert themselves, express their authentic selves, or prioritize their own well-being in relationships or social interactions. Approval-seeking behavior. Growing up without receiving consistent validation, encouragement, or praise from their parents, children of toxic households often develop a persistent craving for external validation and approval. They may seek validation from peers, authority figures, or romantic partners in an attempt to fill the emotional void left by their parents' neglect or indifference. This approval-seeking behavior can become a driving force behind their actions, choices, and relationships, perpetuating a cycle of seeking validation from others to bolster their fragile self-esteem. Avoidance of conflict. Growing up in an environment where conflict was met with hostility, aggression, or disproportionate punishment can lead individuals to develop a deep aversion to confrontation. Children learn to fear expressing dissenting opinions, asserting their needs, or standing up for themselves, as doing so may result in further conflict or emotional turmoil. As a result, they may develop a habit of avoiding conflict altogether, even in situations where addressing issues directly could lead to resolution or personal growth. Trust issues. Trust is fundamental to healthy relationships, yet children raised by toxic parents may experience repeated betrayals of trust or broken promises. Whether through emotional manipulation, neglect, or outright abandonment, parents may fail to fulfill their children's basic needs for security, reliability, and emotional support. Consequently, individuals may struggle to trust others, fearing that they will be let down, abandoned, or hurt in the same way they were by their parents. This can manifest as difficulty forming close bonds, skepticism towards others' intentions, or an inclination to keep others at arm's length to avoid vulnerability. Emotional instability. Inconsistent or invalidating responses to emotions from caregivers can disrupt a child's emotional development, leading to difficulties in regulating their own emotions in adulthood. Children raised by toxic parents may experience a roller coaster of emotions, swinging between extremes of intense anger, sadness, or anxiety. This emotional instability can strain relationships and impede their ability to function effectively in various areas of life. Perfectionism. Toxic parents often demand perfection from their children, setting unattainable standards and using conditional love or approval as leverage for compliance. Children internalize the message that their worth is contingent upon their achievements or adherence to unrealistic expectations, leading to a persistent fear of failure and rejection. As a result, individuals may develop perfectionistic tendencies, obsessively striving for flawlessness in all areas of life, whether academic, professional, or personal. Perfectionism can be debilitating, fueling anxiety, procrastination, and self-criticism, and hindering individuals from embracing their authentic selves and enjoying life's imperfections. Difficulty expressing emotions. Growing up in an environment where emotions were suppressed, invalidated, or punished can hinder individuals' ability to express their feelings openly and authentically. Children of toxic parents may learn to repress their emotions as a means of self-preservation, fearing judgment, ridicule, or rejection if they were to express vulnerability or distress. Consequently, they may struggle to identify, label, or communicate their emotions effectively, leading to difficulties in forming intimate connections, resolving conflicts, or seeking support when needed. This emotional suppression can have long-lasting consequences on their mental health and interpersonal relationships. This video is more than just a story. It's my life, my experiences, and my struggles. I've lived through the pain of toxic parenting, and I'm still dealing with its effects. So I ask you to understand and learn from my experiences. Parents, we all want the best for our kids, but sometimes, without realizing, we might hurt them instead of helping. We might become the toxic parents we never wanted to be. It's easy to fall into this trap, thinking we're doing it for their own good. But remember, our kids are not just extensions of us. They have their own dreams and feelings. Let's respect that. Let's listen to them, support them, and love them unconditionally. Let's be their guiding light, not the storm they have to weather. Let's promise to be better, to do better. Because to our kids, we're not just parents, we're their heroes. And it's time we start acting like it. Let's make a difference in their lives, starting today, because they deserve nothing less.